the Helios 44-2.
Oh, dude, these photos are sick, bro. This lens makes everything look so cinematic.
I wonder what lens he has.
Hey, man, what lens is that? This is the Helios 44-2, dude. Literally the sickest lens on this whole planet. Everything I shoot with this becomes instantly cinematic. Wow, must be a pretty good lens if it can make everything look cinematic. Bro, picked it up off eBay. Spent about $100, came from Russia. Took about 3 weeks to get here, but bro, once I got it, oof. Trust me, bro, you're gonna wanna get one of these lenses. Everything I shoot with it is so sick. You're gonna thank me later. Well, if the lens is gonna make my images more cinematic, then that means I'm gonna make better videos. I gotta get that lens.
And so off I went in search of my version of the Helios. I asked every question I could think of. No question was too dumb because I needed to know. I scoured blog posts, looking at people's opinions, looking at their example images, feeling confident that my images will look just as beautiful as theirs. I searched and searched and searched until...
Dude, what is up, man? None of these look great, none of them look cinematic, and they don't have the bokeh. The other me lied to me. Goes to show you, you can't trust me. Yo, dude, how's the lens coming along? Dude, what's up, bro? I got the lens. Nothing looks cinematic. In fact, all of my photos don't even have the bokeh behind them. What's up with that? Oh, you're like right there, dude. You're so close. No, he's not. If you keep going, bro, I guarantee you, you're gonna get it eventually. He won't. Just trust me, you got this. All right, I'll keep trying. He's never gonna get it. You know why? Because I didn't tell him a couple of things that he should have known before he bought the lens. Like one, how it has poor visual contrast. Two, how the aperture ring is backwards. I'm sure he's having a great time figuring that one out. And it also needs an adapter to attach to your modern cinema camera. Without it, you're kind of not gonna be able to use it. That, and there's a couple of other things, but why don't you just come with me real quick? We'll sit down, we'll talk about it.
I really love this little lens, but I wouldn't just blatantly recommend it because it was used in the Batman, Dune 1 and 2, or Poor Things. The thing that not enough of these other people say is that it wasn't used very often in any of those movies. Take the Batman, for example. They used it for a specific portion of the car chase scene when the camera was mounted on the side of the car. And they did this because the lens is dirt cheap and it wouldn't halt production if the lens got trashed. And for Dune, the lens was taken apart and rehoused with a more robust feel with cinema-leaning features. That lens is in no way, shape, or form a Helios. Iron Glass specifically made that lens for the movie. And my point is, while yes, the bokeh and look of this lens is amazing, it's not for every occasion. You have to look at the scene and ask yourself, what does this need? And if it calls for the look of the Helios, then go for it. But most times it won't. For the remainder of Act 2, I would like to showcase my version of the Helios so you can see how it reacts in a real-world scenario.
These days are running slow. Sunsets and shores far from home. Headlights are shining on the sea. No place on earth I'd rather be. And I could try to just follow the swell, but I'll never find this anywhere else. those places on the wall. And none come close to this, I'm sure. You try to say the sunrise the same.
The reality is, I've owned this lens for about 1.5 years, and in that time, I've seriously used it 3 times. Like many others on this platform, I got sold on the swirly bokeh and the hype of this lens when at the end of the day, 0 of my projects have actually called for it. And every single time I would go to pick up the lens, it felt like I was forcing myself to use it as opposed to letting the scene tell me what it needed, and that's something that you never want to do. I kind of only really remembered I even owned this lens when the other day I had to go get an adapter and I saw it just collecting dust there on the shelf, which prompted me to make this video to kind of share my experience on getting the lens and my experience of using it and, real world use. All of that to say, I still think, in my honest opinion, everyone should own one of these lenses. It's a fantastic lens, and it's really only for 3 main reasons that I say that. It's cheap, it's easy to find, and it's very unique. This lens is a copy of a few other lenses, but those other lenses are so expensive. It's like 4 to 5 times as much as this lens does. And for $100, you're getting a lot of characteristics that are very unique and are sometimes called for in whatever you're trying to shoot. You can't expect to grab this lens, put it on your camera, and expect amazing results. A lot of YouTubers on here make it sound so easy to just put this lens on your camera, go out and shoot whatever it is you were gonna go shoot, and then just achieve cinematic results, when that is the farthest from the truth. In reality, to get really beautiful looking images, you need patience, you need time, and you need practice. And especially with this lens because of its endless amount of quirks. I mentioned it earlier in the video, but the aperture ring works backwards. So if you go to f16, you're actually going down to f2. And if you go down to f2, you're actually going up to f16. And then also, you can lift the aperture ring right here and then adjust where you want the aperture to stop. So I can have it stop on f8 and it'll never go higher than f8. Another one of the quirks is that this is an M42 mount. So a lot of the lenses that you find that are Helios will be M42 mount. Some of them are M39, which means you have to buy a step-up ring to make it M42. And then you have to buy an M42 to whatever mount your camera is. That in and of itself isn't that bad. All of my vintage lenses have an adapter on them in order to fit on the cameras that I own, but having to figure out M39 to M42 was a mess. I went looking on so many blog posts, so many forums, until I finally found what I needed to. So I thought I'd just share that here in case you're also in the same boat. Another thing I also want to mention too is that the swirly bokeh effect that you get with this lens only really happens in certain scenarios. You can't just get it by putting it on and then expecting it to happen in the background. It really only happens in portraiture type things. So either you're getting your subject or you're getting like the object that you're trying to get in the video. So you have to have it close to the lens, and then that subject has to be far enough away from the background to achieve that result. Otherwise, you're not really going to get it. Either that or it'll be lessened and it won't be as pronounced. Also, with the bokeh, this lens is really only good for full frame. Obviously there's a caveat with that, and I hate to say that because I'm a big proponent of shooting Super 35 or APS-C. That's what I've done my whole career until I got this Blackmagic full frame. But the reality is the bokeh really isn't as pronounced on APS-C and Super 35 because the sensors cut into the lens. So you're really only getting like the center portion of the lens where the swirly bokeh effect happens on the outer portion. So a full frame is really the only place that you'll really be able to see that and have it be really pronounced. And on an APS-C, you can get that, you're just not gonna see it to the effect that maybe you see some people take photos with or some other people's videos. And then the last thing I wanna say is that a lot of the downfalls of this lens can be fixed in post. So like the poor saturation can be fixed, the poor contrast can be fixed, and if the lens has any like hue shifts, that can also be fixed in post. It just kind of sucks because I know vintage lenses have a lot of quirks and a lot of like weird characteristics with them, but a lot of my Nikon lenses are fairly close to perfect. So there's very little that I have to do with them in post. But with this Helios lens, I find myself taking like 15 to 20 minutes to try to even get it close to what my Nikon lenses look like. And even then, when I do a comparison between the two, they are still very, very different. So when I do that, I tend to just not use the Helios because I can tell very clearly that the Helios is this clip and my Nikon is this clip, and I hate that. I want my video to look as seamless as possible, and because of that, it's just been collecting dust. I haven't really used it. It kind of just feels like it's either an all or nothing type thing. I just wanted to share my thoughts with this lens. Wanted to kind of share a little bit of the downsides to it because I don't feel like enough people talk about it. again, I still think you should go out and buy this lens. Look it up on eBay, Facebook Marketplace. Odds are someone is selling it. But just know that when you get this lens, don't expect it to do anything miraculous for you. Take some time, practice with the lens, and only use it in times that it actually calls for it. So yeah, anyways, Happy New Year, guys. This is the first video of the year. My plan is to try to release 2 videos a month. I'm already kind of falling short on that, but expect another video soon. But yeah, if any of you guys have any questions about this lens or, have any other comments you want to add, go ahead and leave them down below, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right, bye.